This event took place in the year 654 H. Although this fire, the emission of lava from the earth, Wallahu alam, is a common occurrence in volcanic regions where there are many volcanoes. The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, still made it one of the signs of the coming of the Day of Judgment. The secret of all this, in our view, lies in the character or message of this sign. This event took place at a time when the Muslims were weak, divided, indulging in lust, and disputing among themselves. For this reason, it was necessary to bring a concrete and perceptible sign, like that of the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, as proof that what he had announced was true, so that it would be a source of strength and encouragement, as well as a light with its fire for those who pursued the truth at that time. Or it is not unlike a fire tower as a sign, as well as a sign of faith, to confirm the hearts of those who are on the path of truth at that time. That is, when this sign has been rumored since 600 years before its occurrence. On the other hand, this sign is a warning for Muslims at a time when they are facing the most severe conditions in their history. If the earth shows symptoms of its anger by spewing its guts, then Muslims also experience the same disaster as the disaster that struck the Caliphate of Baghdad at that time. This human disaster is called the Tatars, who attacked like a ferocious storm that devastated people and their land. And sure enough, it was in 656 AH that the Baghdad Caliphate fell to the Tatars. Overview of the Hijaz fire 654 H. In the description of the hadith above, the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, explains that a great fire will emerge from the land of Hijaz, and because of the greatness of this fire, its rays will be seen from the southern part of Sham, which in the hadith is referred to as the city of Bushra or Horan. This indicates the extent to which the fire can be seen burning. The scholars of the 7th century H, or those who saw the event firsthand, mention or corroborate their descriptions that this event really happened. Here we mention some of them. Imam and Nawawi said, this event was agreed upon by the people of Sham and witnessed by many people in person. Fathul Bari, these words of his indicate that the news of the event indicates its veracity and reinforces that there were those who witnessed it firsthand. Especially for the people of Sham, this event is an event that cannot be denied. Al-Qurtubi narrates, the fire that came out of Hijaz was visible from Madinah. At first, this event was preceded by an earthquake on the night of Friday after Isha 3 Jumadil, Akhir 654 H. This earthquake continued until Duha on Friday and then subsided. In the settlement of Banu Qurayza in the area of Hira, the area looked like a very large city because of the light. No one could cross the hills that were there, but he would be crushed and destroyed by the lava that came out of the area. Between the hills were red and blue rivers that devoured the plains in front of them. These lava flows continued to advance towards the lowlands of Iraq. There was also a rumbling sound like lightning striking, until the hills in the region were flattened by the lava that came out, making it look like a boiling sea. One of my colleagues said, this event lasted for 5 days, during which time the smoke was seen rising into the sky. I also heard that this event could also be witnessed from Mecca and from the highlands of Bushra at Tadhkira. At least, what Al-Qurtubi says is similar to the overflowing lava that comes out of the earth, as we often see on television. Abu Shama relates as follows. I was informed by those who witnessed the event, and they are people whose news I trust, that the flames could be seen from the area of Tima. According to some accounts, the event took place on the night of Friday, in the month of Jumadil, Akhir. At that time, in the eastern part of Madinah, a huge, glowing fire emerged from the bowels of the earth, half a day's journey from the city of Madinah. The lava continued to flow, almost equaling the hill of Uhud. In another account, it is narrated that from the ground emanated a powerful lava from the Hira area that was so high and large that it almost equaled the mosque of the Prophet. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. What is clear is that this event could be witnessed with the naked eye from Madinah. Fathul Bari. 7. Fighting the Turks and Tatars. Amru ibn Taglib radiyallahu anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "One of the signs of the Day of Judgment is that you will fight a people who wear sandals made of feathers. And another sign is that you will also fight a people who have wide faces, like thick shields." In another narration, it is also stated, "The hour will not come until the Muslims fight the Turk, a people whose faces are like a thick, broad shield. They wear clothes made of fur and walk in fur shoes." H.R. al-Bukhari, al-Jihad wa as-Sah, Hadith No. 2927. Description: wearing a thick shield made of leather. What is meant here is that their faces are like shields covered with thick leather. This is how the following expression is often used. Labitstu nalain mutharikan, I wear a pair of sandals, which means that one sandal is a pair for the other. Al-Baydawi said, their faces are likened to shields because of their hardness and oval shape. They are likened to thick leather garments because their skin is thick and has a lot of flesh on it. At Turk, a people who are said to be descendants of Yaphits, there are also those who say they are Bani Kanthura. Kanthura was the slave girl of Ibrahim alayhi salam, who gave birth to this nation. This latter opinion is recognized by some scholars, but Ibn Atsir rejects it. In our view, the Banu Kanthura are very unlikely to be Turkic. As for where they came from, scholars generally point to Khurasan, a region west of China that connects with northern India. As Ibn Hajar mentioned, this is the land where the Tatars lived. But the truth is that the Turk nation is attributed to the people who live behind the Caucasus Mountains. By this definition, they are now the people who inhabit most of the Asian continent. However, the indications given in some hadiths point to two peoples, the Mongols and the Tatars. In our view, the indications given by the hadith refer to several events, rather than focusing on one particular event. Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that the Messenger of Allah, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The hour will not come until you fight against the Turk, who has narrow eyes, a red face, and a snub nose. It is as if his face is like a thick leather shield. And the day of judgment will not come until you fight against a people who wear fur sandals." In another narration, it is stated as follows, "The hour will not come until the people who wear fur sandals fight you." Al-Bukhari, al-Jihad wa as-Sah, Hadith No. 2927. We say, these two narrations indicate that the people who wear fur sandals are not the Turks referred to in the text of the previous hadith. Rather, the hadith implies that there will be two wars against two different groups. Ibn Hajar estimated that the people wearing fur slippers were the Babiks, Zindiks who rebelled against the Abbasid dynasty during the reigns of al-Ma'mun and al-Mutashim. Babik's group was based in the area between Azerbaijan and Iran, north of Persia. Along with his conspirators, Babik legalized various religious prohibitions, which in this case were very similar to the Mazdakiya sect. Their teachings flourished in the highlands of Ashbahan, Masabzan, and Hamzan. In the course of his attacks, Babik took control of the surrounding areas of Thabaristan and Ar-Ray, and made a lot of noise in them. Eventually, their rebellion was quelled during the time of al-Mutashim, after the two sides engaged in a battle that cost many casualties. Babik and his group are referred to as those who wore fur sandals and fur coats. It is likely that this was because the climate of the area, which consists of snow-covered mountainous terrain, suited them well, so this characterization fits their custom. From the two wording of this hadith, what Ibn Hajar says is also correct. It means that the area they live in and their customs fit the criteria of the hadith above. Thus, it is likely that those who inhabited the area can be called the Turks, or better known as the people who wear fur sandals. Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that the Messenger of Allah, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The hour will not come until you fight Quz and Karman, which are foreign non-Arabic lands. These are people with red faces, short noses, and narrow eyes. It is as if their faces are like a thick leather shield, and they wear sandals made of fur." H.R. al-Bukhari, al-Manakib, Hadith No. 3590. Foreign vocabulary. Quz and Karman, two regions located outside of Arabia. Karman is a well-known region located between Khorasan and the Indian Ocean. Quz is a region located in Iraq, which is inhabited by non-Arabic tribes. It is likely that this area was located close to the Caspian Sea. We say, from the wording of this hadith, it can be seen that the meaning of fighting the Turks is a war that the Muslims will experience against the people who live behind the Caucasus Mountains and those like them in the Eastern world. Thus, the hadiths refer to several wars rather than one particular war. Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that the Messenger of Allah, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The Dajjal will surely descend in the area of Quz and Karman among 70,000 of his followers. Their faces will be like very thick shields." Ahmad, Baqi Musnad al-Mukatsirin, Hadith No. 8474. We say, this hadith indicates that some of Dajjal's followers will be characterized as Turks. After considering the hadiths that mention the beginning of Dajjal's appearance, it can be seen that he will appear for the first time on the coast of the Caspian Sea, or more precisely in Ashbahan and its surroundings. These physical characteristics are very appropriate for the people who live in the region. In addition, this hadith also indicates that the number of Dajjal's followers will be 70,000 people. Other hadiths also explain that the number of his followers will be 70,000 people, consisting of Ashbahan Jews who wear thick robes and have a lot of embroidery. The question is, are these the people referred to in the hadith? The answer is that it is very likely. This is because the hadith describes their visible characteristics. Other hadiths also mention their religion. Of course, after setting aside the Jewish dogma that requires Judaism only for the original descendants of the Jews. In the above hadith, it is also mentioned that the Dajjal will descend in the area of Quz and Karman, in the midst of a people who have a face like a thick shield oval with thick facial skin. The previous hadith also explains that the Muslims will fight the people of Quz and Karman before the Day of Judgment arrives. It can also be concluded that one of the places where Dajjal will stop is Quz and Karman. It is there that he will gain a very large following. That is why the hadith states that Dajjal will descend there. At least the wording of the hadith suggests that it is there that Dajjal will find a suitable environment. In turn, he will find many supporters, and from there, he will move with his followers to fight the Muslims. With this understanding, it can be concluded that this war has not happened yet. Another possibility is that Quz and Karman may be the first areas conquered by Dajjal, and it is from here that Dajjal and his Turkic followers will fight the Muslims, the people of Quz and Karman. Burayda radiyallahu anhu reported, "I was sitting with the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, when I heard him say, 'Verily, my ummah will be defeated 3 times by a people whose faces are wide, whose eyes are narrow, and who look like shields, so that they can conquer the entire Arabian Peninsula.' In the first attack, those who flee from the Murayha attack are those who can save themselves. In the second attack, some of them survived and some were killed, whereas in the last third attack, the Murayha will slaughter the remaining Muslims." The companions asked, "O Prophet of Allah, who are they?" He replied, "They are the Turks, by Allah. They will tether their horses to the fences of the Muslim mosques. The narrator of this hadith said, "From then on Burayda, who narrated this hadith, was never separated from his 2 to 3 camels, complete with provisions and water bags, for fear of the savagery of the Turkic leaders." H.R. Ahmad, Baqi Musnad al-Anshar, Hadith No. 2243. The above hadith uses his wording. Al-Haythami said, "This hadith was narrated by Ahmad in an abbreviated form. As for the narrators, they are Sika." We say, it is likely that these were the Tatars who launched a barbaric expansion and wreaked havoc on the earth. They moved from the east and pushed westward until they succeeded in overthrowing the Abbasid Caliphate in 654 AH. Al-Qurtubi and others attribute this hadith to the expansion of the Tatars into Islamic lands. What the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, had said actually happened. At that time, a number of people, whom only Allah knows how many, launched an attack, while the other Muslims could not avoid their attack, except by the permission of Allah. At that time, they were like Yaju and Maju, said Imam Qurtubi. He also quoted Al-Hafish ibn Dihaya as saying, "From these people came a people called the Tatars. In Jumada al-Awwal of 617 AH, they were very large in number and very cruel. They massacred the Muslims. They attacked from Transoxania to Khurasan and beyond. They even succeeded in destroying the state of Bani Sazan and destroyed the city of Peshawar, Pakistan. After burning the city to the ground, they killed the people of Khawarizm until no one survived, except those who hid in the alleys and caves. Not enough of that, they also destroyed buildings and structures, and drowned the city with the water of the Jihan River in all its parts. Next, they went to the city of Neshan, from where they continued their attack until they reached Ray, Kazwin, and Ardabil. Then they took control of the city of Maragha, where the Azerbaijani Empire reigned." What Al-Qurtubi said by quoting Ibn Dihiya's statement is what we want to underline here. The account of this event shows how cruel and sadistic the Turks or Tatars were, to the extent that many people escaped to the mountains and caves.